I'm not the guy who's here for Puffy's downfall, but I am the guy who supports the victims who got victimized, right? That boy life is dangerous. His life doesn't, he's just not dangerous with the shit they said he was doing, but he's in danger. He know too much.
Okay, listen to this. The footage, it's trash quality, but honestly, who's surprised? It's prison. It always looks like it's shot through a potato. But what it lacks in pixels, it makes up for in pure horror. There he is, Suge Knight, the Suge Knight, literally wobbling down this depressing, dim hallway in some high-security prison. Just a boring old transfer, right? Nope. Out of nowhere, bam, two masked guys jump out from a blind spot like they're in a damn movie. Well, no faces, just rags tied around their heads. And then, oh my God, they pounce, slam him hard into the wall. Then they drag him into some creepy side door. Where does it lead? Apparently an unmonitored holding room that no one's supposed to even use anymore. And just like that, poof. He's gone. No guards, no cameras, no nothing. Just the eerie clang of a metal door slamming shut like something out of a horror flick.
Named Diddy 77 times in court documents related to Tupac's murder.
For 3 whole hours, Suge Knight is off the grid. No reports, no logs, not even a disciplinary slip. What the hell is going on here? Federal officials, crickets, dead silence. Nobody saying where Suge was taken or in what state they dumped him back in his cell. All we've got is that grainy mess of a video and the million-dollar question. How does a hit like this happen in a max security facility under 24/7 surveillance? Let's be real. If you think this was just some prison scuffle, wake up. This is not that. That video is going viral for a reason. People aren't just shook by the violence. It's the way it went down, the timing, the masks, the cold, calculated moves. Nah. That's not 2 angry inmates beefing over lunch. These guys moved like professionals, like they'd done this before. And the place you got dragged into? Guess what? A retired guard said that part of the prison's been shut down for years. So why was it even unlocked? And who gave the green light to move Shoop through there? Immediately, rumors start flying. People talking about an inside job. Guards being bribed. The footage edited before it leaked. And one former prison warden, he just straight up said, this kind of thing doesn't happen unless someone opens the gate. Yeah, let that sink in. So now, everyone's looking at the system itself. This wasn't random. This was a setup, but no one's stepping up. No apologies, no explanation. And Suge, radio silent. But maybe that silence, strategic. Because y'all, there's another layer to this mess. One that's been simmering for over a decade. Some of you might remember the whispers during the height of the East Coast vs. West Coast chaos that there was a bounty on Suge Knight and Tupac's heads, $1 million. And the name allegedly behind it, Sean Diddy Combs.
But tell me, man, why do you believe that Jay and Puffy is close, even though Jay's lawyer came out and said they're not?
Because Jay-Z and Puff was given an assignment.
I know, it sounds like fan fiction, right? But wait, multiple sources have said it, including Suge himself. And now a 2009 police interview just resurfaced with none other than Keef D, yes, the same guy, now facing trial for orchestrating Tupac's murder. In that interview, Keef D doesn't even blink. When they ask him about Diddy, he just says, yeah, I think he did. As in, yes, he thinks Diddy did put a price on Suge's head. He even claims Diddy once said, I'd give anything for Suge's head. And if that's not enough to make your jaw drop, another former DEA source, he doubled down, said Diddy offered a cool $1 million to take out both Suge and Tupac. So suddenly, this attack isn't looking like some jailhouse beef at all. Why now, though? That's what everyone's asking. Suge's not new to enemies, but the timing is suspicious. His appeal for retrial? Denied. His civil case over Terry Carter's death heating up. And guess who's tangled in a bonfire of lawsuits, federal raids, and court drama of his own? Yup. Diddy. His name has come up over 50 times in his own case, and Suge's name keeps popping up right next to it. Some people think this hit was more than revenge. Maybe it was a message. Maybe Suge was about to testify and someone was scared of what he'd say. Don't forget, Suge's been running his podcast from behind bars, Collect Call, and it's been spicy. Throwing shade, dropping cryptic bombs. Last September, he told listeners Diddy knew about a certain little room where dark deals went down, and not all of them had to do with music. He even warned, they gonna get you if they can. Some folks laughed it off. Others? Now they're not laughing.
There's no punishment if they protected by the road, the judge, the DA.
And guess what? Suge might still be linked to what's left of the old death row empire. Yeah, Snoop Dogg owns it now, but according to insiders, the real money, the secrets, the power behind it never left the game. That kind of legacy doesn't disappear. It waits, it mutates. And if Suge still knows things, someone might want to silence him for good or pressure him to finally start talking. Honestly, this whole video leak might have backfired. Instead of silencing him, they may have exposed a gaping wound in the entire prison system. Like, seriously, how did two masked attackers get access to that hallway at the exact time Suge was being moved? Who unlocked that door? Why was that camera even pointed there? And why has no one, not the warden, not the Bureau of Prisons, said a word? That video didn't just show a man getting jumped. It showed an entire system looking the other way.
3 law firms on retainer. I don't know how much money is coming in, but I know that a lot of money is going out every single month for Diddy.
And if you want to talk about enemies, oh, we've got a list. Let's not forget Dr. Dre. Suge once accused him of trying to take him out, in court no less. Said he even saw canceled checks tied to a plot against him around the same time he ran over Terry Carter in 2015. And then there's Ice Cube. Reportedly refused to even meet with Suge on the Straight Outta Compton set right before that hit and run. So yeah, Diddy, Dre, Cube, they were all part of this music empire. And that empire, it wasn't just about beats. It was about power, about survival. In that world, $1 million hit isn't urban legend, it's business. And if that hit is still in play, there's no expiration date on street law. And hey, Suge has hinted before that Tupac's death wasn't some random Vegas drive-by. According to him, Tupac begged not to go back to prison, said, "I'll die before I go back." Not fear, not drama. Property, and maybe, just maybe, this attack on Suge is part of that same war, one that started decades ago and still hasn't ended. And if it's a continuation, who's next?
And Tupac's a legend. Like I said, Tupac wasn't born, he was sent to us.
Now, inside the infamous R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, Suge Knight's presence has always been like a walking earthquake. The minute he arrived, the whole place changed. Guards were whispering, inmates were puffing up their chests. For some, just breathing the same air as Suge meant clout. For others, it was an invitation, a challenge. And now, after this ambush heard round the world, that challenge, it's turned into something deadly serious. A retired corrections officer, A.R.J. Lemes, didn't sugarcoat it. There's always someone trying to make their name off somebody bigger, and let's be honest, who's bigger in that world than Suge Knight? He's been shuffled through solitary, restricted units, different yards, you name it, but no matter where he goes, trouble follows. His gang affiliation might have once protected him, but behind bars, even old alliances rot. Brotherhoods on the street turn into betrayals in 6x8 cells. And here's where it gets even creepier. Sources say inmates had been planning something for months. Not over beefs from old death row days, not because of diss tracks, because Suge still talks, still stirs the pot. On Collect Call, his podcast from prison, he's been name-dropping Snoop, Dre, Diddy, everybody, even dragging up industry ghosts no one's mentioned in years. In prison, where silence is everything, Suge's big mouth could be costing him his life.
You know, when it comes to rewriting history, it's trying to rewrite history.
There's even chatter that Suge was trying to build new alliances inside, make moves like it's still the 90s. One ex-gang member who did time with him said straight up, Suge was moving pieces like it was the 90s again. But this ain't death row, this is prison. Different rules, different kings. That, one quote, says everything. Suge's still playing king, but the kingdom is crumbling. And let's not forget the guards. The million-dollar question, where were they? Since the video leaked, the Bureau of Prisons hasn't said a single word. Nothing. No investigation, no reassignment, not even a generic PR statement. According to prison policy, a violent inmate on inmate assault like this should have triggered alarms, interviews, surveillance reviews, the whole shebang. But guess what? Nothing. No one's been charged. No names released. No follow-up, just silence, the kind of silence you only get when people at the top are trying to hide something.
And they was getting a lot of money to make albums and records. When they had guys down south, that these labels was paying $250,000, $300,000 on record deals, and these guys was bringing back platinum albums and everything like that. So what they had to do was they had to keep New York rappers.
A whistleblower who worked in the federal prison system dropped a chilling bomb. This might not even be the first time something like this happened. They hinted that if someone higher up got to the guards, or if the guards were pressured, you'd never hear a peep. And this isn't about protecting Suge, it's about protecting the system. A system with a lot to hide. Think fake logs, camera blind spots, secret room transfers, rooms that don't even officially exist. Sounds like a conspiracy novel, right? Except the bounty was real. The paperwork is real, and it's terrifying. What's worse, sources say Suge has now been placed in administrative segregation, solitary, but not for his safety. No, he's under investigation for allegedly triggering the attack on himself. What? That's like blaming a robbery victim for getting mugged. And here's where the whispers get real dark. Some believe this is a setup, not just to shut him up, but to frame him, flip the script, make him the villain again. Sound familiar? It should, because this exact flip the narrative tactic has followed Suge for decades. Remember, prosecutors have literally called him a threat to the entire entertainment industry in open court. That stigma might have followed him behind those prison walls. Maybe the enemies Suge needs to fear aren't the inmates, but the ones running the whole damn show.
Cause him and Diddy was given that deal, we gotta keep these East Coast rappers down. Cause down south rappers, Cash Money, No Limit, Ludacris and them, they was taking little money and bringing back more money and making more money for them.
And now let's step outside those walls for a minute, because what's unfolding in the music industry right now is just as wild. Diddy is knee-deep in a federal trial that's dragging some major names into the courtroom. Cassie Ventura, former assistants, music insiders, all testifying, and Suge Knight, his name keeps showing up again and again and again, over 50 times already. That's not random, that's a pattern. And this isn't about album beef, this is about legacies, survival, control.
Yes, he hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, Tupac. I ain't mentioned Biggie. That nigga ain't even talk to me for like 4 fucking days after that. Everything with Pac, like, you couldn't say Pac was anything better than Biggie. You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie.
And here's the curveball. Suge, speaking from behind bars, actually gave advice to Diddy. Yeah, advice. Told him not to end up naked in a cell under self-harm watch with no rights. Was that real concern or shade so deep you need a flashlight to find the bottom? Either way, the message was clear. Suge knows how lonely it gets when your empire turns its back on you. He's hinted before that Diddy's not the only one with explosive secrets. Told ABC, tell the real truth and bring everybody accountable. That line alone gave chills to former execs all over the industry. Because the truth about Death Row, it's always come at a price. Some people believe that label is cursed, not just metaphorically, but literally. Look at the bodies, the feuds, the unexplained collapses. Tupac gunned down in Vegas. Biggie taken out months later. Snoop's fallout with Suge. Suge getting shot at a party. And now, this bloody prison ambush, it's a pattern. The ghosts of Death Row, they're still walking.
So they was placed to destroy the East Coast rap. And then, along came a somebody. They was about to bring East Coast rap back. And there's nothing they could do about it. And this kid was finna put East Coast.
Suge now sits in a prison that might be actively turning against him. But the question remains, was his fate sealed years ago? Not by a jury, but by karma? Death Row Records once ruled the West Coast, but what it left behind? Nightmares, shadows, power moves turned to poison. Yeah, the brand's back under Snoop's name, but the foundation still cursed. And Suge might just be the latest sacrifice in a legacy that refuses to die. Did Death Row ever really end, or did it just move from the studio to the cell? Now we've got a prison assault, a federal agency staying completely quiet, old enemies resurfacing, legal cases brewing, and one silent, distorted video that could end up flipping the entire industry again. What started as a leak is now looking like the crack in a damn dam.
I think the real reason why they ain't gonna let Puffy out is because they trying to connect that Kiefer D situation with Puffy. That's what I really think it is. Because if it came down to some sex trafficking, foolishness, and all that there, a buku chumped up charges they couldn't prove, I don't think they got no evidence. I think they trying to keep him in there to lock in that Kiefer D. You heard me? That Kiefer D situation with Puff. I think that's the only reason why he's still in jail right now.
And here's the final twist. What if this wasn't about ending Suge? What if this was just the beginning? A signal, a test run, a whisper in the shadows saying, it's not over. The past isn't buried, it's hunting. What if unfinished business from the 90s is finally being settled, and Suge just the first domino to fall? If that's true, then who's really behind this? Could the secrets behind Tupac and Biggie's unsolved murders be closer to the surface than we've ever dared to believe? We want to hear it. Do you think this was just a prison brawl gone wrong, or is this the next major reckoning in hip-hop history? Drop your theories in the comments below.